Hello, I'm Diana Falzone, and this is 4for4 Science, where we discuss 4 mind-percolating science topics in only 4 minutes. The gateway to the underworld may have been unearthed. James, have we found the portal to hell or something far scarier?
Far, far scarier. I mean, this is like some sort of scientific Hades. Gigantic hole in a Siberian forest, like a mile long, 400 feet deep. What's most frightening about it, though, is it looks like it was caused by man. Basically, this is one of the coldest places on Earth, and part of this forest was removed many, many years ago, was cut down, and it seems like this part of the forest above the permafrost has caused the ice layers to melt because that layer of insulation was removed. So now we're getting the biggest mega slump on Earth.
Wow. Another worry about this is that the melting permafrost is going to release methane into the atmosphere, which will exacerbate global warming, which will cause more ice to melt, which will release more methane. So you have this vicious cycle of exacerbated global warming.
Yeah, but there is one slight upside to this, which is that it gives paleontologists this opportunity to really look back through time. So looking through the layers of this particular slump, they found the remains of a bison, a musk ox, a mammoth, and a 4,400-year-old horse.
That's very interesting. So it is a glimpse into our past. And the locals are terrified, just to point that out, that they really do think this is a portal to hell. New sunglasses are bone conduction headphones. Sophie, is there any potential downside to having your skull act as a tuning fork? Perhaps a headache?
The company's betting against it. So Zungul is making sunglasses, and on the arms, they've got these vibrating motors that press against your skull. So normally when you're listening to your music, there's air inside your ear is vibrating. But in this case, they're saying we're going to directly vibrate the bones of your skull so you can hear this music through Bluetooth while keeping your ears free.
I could see this being something for the future. You know, I'm always mislaying earbuds and different things like that. And I think we're ready for new technology in this space. And last year we wrote a story about a military radio prototype that's been developed that uses exactly this. I think it may have been used for some hearing aids as well. So, you know, it's not without precedent. It just could be a big consumer deal.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about it is that you don't actually have to cover your ears to hear. So someone who's maybe running or jogging and doesn't want to be cut off from outside noise would be able to listen to their music and also be aware of what's going on around them.
And they are raising some money on Kickstarter, so it is something that could definitely advance in the future. But the idea of it just sounds a little painful to me, especially if you are prone to migraines or anything of that sort. You're vibrating your head. If you're afraid of aliens invading our planet, fear not. Experts predict it will be at least 1,500 years before extraterrestrials will make contact, so we'll all most likely be dead. Sarah, what exactly does this research show?
Yeah, so this is the work of a Cornell student. He did some calculations looking at the age and the size of the universe and how fast signals travel through it, and he found that at this point, the signals we would have sent from Earth would have only blanketed 0.1% of our own galaxy. So looking beyond that, it's unlikely that ET is going to get in touch with us, you know, sooner than 1,500 years from now.
This is interesting stuff. It's kind of under the idea that we're putting some kind of actual hard and fast dates on this is kind of fascinating. But I spoke to an astronomy professor about it last week. He wasn't involved in the research. And he said, look, you know, a lot of this research has been kind of based on radio and TV signals. He said, but maybe we also want to look at kind of other things that could be out there in the universe as well, that not just limited to this. You know, there was a story about a dimming star that people talked about possibly within the context of an alien infrastructure. He used that example as these are the other signs that we could see.
Sophie?
I mean, it's easy to forget how small we are in space, but the Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years from side to side, so a radio signal starting out on one end would take 100,000 years to reach the other end.
What was interesting, too, is the researchers said perhaps the aliens know about us and they just don't want to make contact because we're so underdeveloped. One of the world's 7 wonders is a tad lopsided. So who is a contractor that needs to be held responsible, Sophie?
The ancient Egyptians, the pyramids they saw were different from the ones we see today because their pyramids were covered in this outer layer of white stones. And that makes it hard for researchers today to figure out just how big the pyramids were. So what they've finally done is estimated how much size the stones added. And they've said, you know what, one side of the pyramids is going to, what's the Great Pyramid of Giza specifically, is about 5.5 inches shorter than the other side, which is a little mess up, but considering the scale and the tools they were working with, it's pretty impressive they're as close as they are.
What I want to know is, like, how did they get so close to near perfect? I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, they think that there was some sort of grid system used for the engineering of this, but 5.5 inches on something of that scale, it's just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, and researchers are hoping that they can use this information to maybe glean some info about what tools the ancient Egyptians, did use to make these pyramids so precise. It's really, really impressive.
Yeah, precise, but also, as we said, a little off-center. But it does go back to alien life in some way. We always said that with the 7 wonders, aliens might have been a part of that building process. Now you know what we think. Tell us what you think using the hashtag 444 Science. It's true. People always forget that. They did.